damn right.
This movie exists. God damn it, between cutting to credits, weapons, and money, this is the hardest time I've had jacking off to a movie since private school. F***ing Matthew Modine in a wig. God damn it, these credits are long. This is 5 naked women in silhouette swan diving away from being more akin to a James Bond opening than a reboot/sequel of a 70s blaxploitation film. Roughly 61% of this movie is comprised of sexy and overdramatic glaring.
He started it.
Discount Christian Bale. Holy that's the actual Christian Bale. He's in Shaft?
I was razzing the guy. He couldn't take a joke.
Or that terrible New York accent. I might have shown him up too.
I was defending myself.
I don't care who his father is. Is American Psycho seriously making a confession on the spot without any prompting? And no one thought to question the guy with blood on his hands until Shaft showed up?
Detective, we have a potential witness you should see.
You better come take a look at this cliche. I guess it's a movie if there's a Mekhi Phifer.
Homeboys got rid of him. Is there something I said?
Damn, dude, Walter is so committed to assholing that he continues to asshole even after getting punched in the fucking face.
Well, I've been waiting for this all year. You are gone from this precinct.
I get that Kearney is the lieutenant with a bug up his ass for the heroic cop here, but this seems like a terrible time to come down on Shaft in front of all these reporters right after the victim has died. Just FYI, walking down the middle of the street in traffic doesn't make you a badass, it just makes you an ass.
Shaft.
Roll.
Shut your mouth.
Thanks for breaking my nose that night. My lawyer says that's why I got bail, and that's precisely why I'm skiing in Switzerland right now.
So Shaft gets a call from Walter Wade as he's looking at the skip bail headline. I'm not sure what's more sinful, the convenience or the idea that Shaft reads the newspaper when he could be f***ing. Also, come on, that's why I got bail. The producer's words to the director about why they got Christian Bale somehow made it into the screenplay and became a huge plot point. What the hell? Shaft kept this poor woman's sole source of identification? Didn't even bother to drop it back at the bar? And we see later that she's driving, so either she got a new license without the police finding out, or she's been riding dirty and not getting carded at bars for 2 years. Huh, never would have guessed that Endgame got the idea for the flash forward from Shaft. Vanessa Williams' eyes, man. I don't know whether to be turned on or scared to death. For confusing my emotions as much as the colors of the wind, I'm going to give you a sin, Shaft.
Everybody freeze!
Does anyone expect this to work? It's almost like they imagine this would go like the raid at the end of Christmas Vacation.
Throw something else! Throw something else!
I dare you! I double dog dare you, motherfucker! Throw something else one more goddamn time. Seriously, this movie may as well literally be the story of Jules Winfield after he's been walking the earth for a few years. He's even got the unusual facial hair. Look, this is an absurd stunt, and I guess it's possible to pull off using movie logic, but that first window was so dirty that there's no f***ing way he saw the other one that he landed in. So he was planning to jump to his death, which is up, even for a dickhead that's trying to escape arrest. Also, how did Shaft even let him get this far? He's got a goddamn gun, and he's maybe 10 feet from the guy. Oh man, that dude got shafted. I mean, he totally must have shafted himself. I'm sorry, he should have shafted gears to get out of here. I mean, this is total bullshit.
April Fool, mother.
Really makes you wonder how far they went down the one-liner list to get to this. I guess it's Washington's birthday, motherfucker, and Happy Arbor Day, motherfucker, we're taking.
They must have gotten a heads up from someone.
Then why were they continuing to hang out in the apartment? And why'd they look so f***ing surprised when the cop showed up?
Like the way you handled that, bruh.
Shut the up.
Look, I obviously don't have a f***ing problem with using the word but when I can predict Samuel L. Jackson's dialogue for like 70% of this movie, maybe it's being overused. Shaft is a masterful detective, but he really has to write the name of a neighborhood down to remember? It's not even a full address.
You ain't got no favors left with me.
Then maybe you should give him some more.
How you doing, Richie Rich?
Everything about this limo switcheroo is a lie. Shaft got to the hangar early, but the limo itself just pulled up when the plane did. So when did Shaft and Busta assault the driver and hop in? If it was way earlier, then why did they just drive up now? If it was just now, how the Shaft would they have time to switch outfits?
Bet you thought I was sneaking back.
Yeah. Why the hell is Walter making so much noise about being back in the States? If he were betting on his lawyers getting him off, why did he spend the last 2 years abroad?
It's called habeas corpus, motherfucker. That means due process for the illiterate.
Part of the process of becoming a drug lord in New York is to study up on your Latin. There's a quiz and everything before you can get a license.
Alice, ease up on my nephew.
Granted, it's not as bad as greeting your brother by calling him brother, but this is still a clunky-ass way to introduce the familial relationship between the two Shafts. Also, what? If Richard Roundtree is playing Shaft's Uncle Shaft, then this is a sequel, not a remake. But it's still called Shaft? At least the studio won't be dumb enough to do that again. Wait, I'm Rackman.
When you dress like this, where exactly do you strap your piece?
You mean you forgot already?
Is movie trying to tell us that Sergeant Counsel hides her gun in her vagina? Because I'm pretty sure it's telling us that she hides a gun in her vagina. Premature celebration, brought to you by Heineken.
You want to come home with me tonight?
So what is it this time? You just want to be held, or you want the LD?
Why are those the only two choices, Shaft? Maybe she just wants you to check her pipes, or lay some tile, or weed her garden. Or, Jesus, is there nothing done at a house that isn't a sexual euphemism?
It's my duty to please that booty.
And it's my duty to sin this movie for really having no idea whether whether it's a comedy or a drama.
How does a third-rate pencil-pushing, apple-stealing dickhead like you afford a 4-bedroom colonial in Nassau motherfucking County, huh?
No clue, and considering we never see this character again, also no clue why this question was even asked. Movie can't even figure out what this character's name is. Here, his name says D. Bradford, and here it says J. Kimball. Jesus Christ, he still has this ID? And he hasn't tracked this woman down in 2 fucking years. Also, the fact that there isn't a witness to the murder yet isn't even the issue, right? Walter keeps getting bailed out, not exonerated from the actual event. The motherfucker confessed immediately afterwards.
You know why we can't find her? Because she doesn't want to be found.
Wow, considering the resources from this family and the NYPD, Diane must have had a long career working with Matthew Markinson in counterintelligence before, becoming a waitress.
Is that my mother's choker? You gave her my mother's jewelry?
Rich kid problems.
What's my name? What's my name?
What ain't no country I ever heard of? Do they speak English and what? You see what I'm saying here? I could do this all day. Here's the part in the movie where Shaft somehow outruns a motherfucking speeding car. Wait, he's whispering information into the ear that's blocked by the telephone when the whole left side is open?
You dressing down to blend in or something? You look like a f***ing duck hunter.
For all the faults this movie has, Jeffrey Wright is not one of them.
I want you to start taking me downtown with you.
Like I said, Jeffrey Wright is really good in this movie, but this budding bromance sea story goes on for some time, and it's by far the least interesting part of this movie.
When I say me is this.
Way to play the pronoun game for maximum surprise, peeps. For an evil drug lord, he really has a great sense of dramatic timing. Also, not that I'm necessarily promoting this, but if you're gonna have your drug employees take their clothes off to make sure they don't steal anything, why wouldn't you have them take the underwear off too? Like, how easy is it to slip a baggie of the product into your bra or your crotch? Am I thinking too much about this? Perhaps, but it doesn't mean I don't have an erection.
You all detectives ain't right?
Me, man. There's so much backstabbing and two-timing between the police and the different sets of criminals that I'm officially giving up on figuring out who's paying who for what.
I see you somewhere I don't think you belong. I will kill you.
Holy what a hilariously hyperbolic reaction. I know he doesn't like Peoples, but when did this get this personal?
They saw me with Tattoo last night. Now Peoples is probably paying them to find Diane.
This is absolutely correct, but also impossible for Shaft to put together within the 5 seconds since they ID'd the other cops.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to show them what f***ing with Peoples all about.
I would remove all the sins from this movie if it suddenly turned into an Eyes Wide Shut style orgy after this line of dialogue.
47th and 5th.
The cab driver clearly got really confused on the way over here. Okay, but how did they know Walter was coming here? He took a cab to the pawn shop, but the subway to wherever this is. Does Shaft have informants underground?
I got f***ing mugged. I have no money.
Yeah, but you could easily get some, right? I thought Walter was one of the richest people in New York, and even if he had to borrow it from his dad, who's even richer, he could tell them what it's for, considering they're looking for Diane too. No one will be seated during the People's Takes a Shit sequence, except for, hit.
If you caught it any more than it already is, you can say goodbye to repeat customer.
You gotta be shitting me.
This is a weird thing to say to a guy that's literally taking a shit right in front of you.
I need a number check.
How is Carmen even still helping Shaft? She's still got a job with other cases she's working on, right? If Shaft is still being helped by everyone in the police department, the story element of him quitting seems pretty moot at this point.
Let's roll.
What the hell are these guys doing anyway? How do they know Shaft is constantly looking for Diane and not, headed to the movies? Also, these guys know Shaft super well, and have to know that he would notice them following him. God damn, how do these assholes ever make detective in the first place?
They robbed the white boy, and they got the money under the seat. They playing you.
So you should definitely get out of the car and threaten 2 NYPD detectives in the middle of broad daylight in a residential area.
He's playing us. Shaft is playing us.
For nearly, 5 minutes of movie time. Seriously, Shaft went to all this trouble to rob Walter, throw the devil's advocate and the dad from Clueless off the scent, and pit them against Peoples. But the money ends up with Peoples, and they figure it out anyway. So, much like this entire movie, there's no goddamn point.
Can I speak to Diane Palmieri, please?
No, Rasan. Palmieri.
Palmieri! Said I got it, dude.
An actual conversation between Chris and Jeremy about narration for a CinemaSins video somehow makes it into the movie. Oh yeah, remember Diane, the woman that everyone's looking for but is barely in the movie? Toni Collette has as much screen time in this as Andy Garcia in Passengers.
You follow them, you find out where they go, and you call me. I take it from there.
What obligation do these guys have to Peoples anymore? Pretty f***ing clear that he wasn't going to give them the money. And God to all the dammits! Why are Roselli and Grove still able to be part of this? As soon as they found out they were dirty, Carmen would have turned their asses in. And I know Shaft used them as pawns to get Peoples off his case while he tracked down Diane, but he royally f***ed that plan up by showing up on the scene to watch it. So really, they've served absolutely zero purpose in this movie, besides reminding me that I really enjoyed the 1991 version of The Addams Family.
You welcome. Why don't you sit down, have a seat?
You can tell Busta learned everything he knows about acting from Samuel L. Jackson, considering the delivery of every f***ing line is dialed up to 11.
You first. That's nasty.
Man, this dude is taking the violent stabbing of his brother, which happened like 5 minutes ago, extremely well.
This is some repugnant.
Jesus, Samuel L. Jackson has now resorted to literally repeating lines from Pulp Fiction. I'm good with seeing Christian Bale's character get the beaten out of his racist ass, but this happens a lot in this movie. Don't we have shafting to do instead? Walter would totally just bounce right off that f***ing window pane. Who makes the glass in this city? Hershey?
I come back later. Put this in your ass.
But why? He's right there. And if you're gonna do something with Walter, why f***ing wait? Sure, there are sirens outside, but there's no way there for them. Damn, the last part of this movie makes no sense.
You saw it, didn't you?
But who cares? I'm sure having a witness would help with the conviction. But you'd have to have the lawyer from the beginning of Con Air on your team to lose this case. Walter's got the victim's blood on his hands, fingerprints all over the murder weapon, a clear motive and no alibi, and am I missing anything? Oh yeah, he made a full confession at the scene of the crime. This is f***ing New York City in the evening at an upscale restaurant. How is Diane the only one who even witnessed this? There should be cars passing, other customers coming out, people walking by, right? You're telling me this place doesn't have a f***ing valet?
You're gonna go back inside. You're gonna finish your shift. Then you're gonna go home. Somebody will call you later tonight.
Because her phone number's on her driver's license? How the f*** is he gonna call her?
The man who called me that night, he offered me $100,000 to get lost.
But you stayed in New York? The most expensive city in the country. You wouldn't have had to run at all if you moved to, like, Kansas or something. And think how long you could live on $100 grand out there.
I could be home trading stocks on the internet.
Yeah, I could be home watching the Knicks.
Nothing dates your film released in 2000 more than shout-outs to internet stock trading and actually wanting to watch the Knicks.
You wearing your vest?
Nah.
Dude, I know New York is tough, but there were entirely too many instances of high-ranking cops being offed or physically threatened in this movie. The dirty cops clearly told Peoples the location of the building that Shaft went into, but how the hell do they know which apartment to go to? I know this happens all the time in movies, but I'm sick of it, and I'm going to assign the number of bullets that are apparently in Nick Fury's magic f***ing handgun here. I would love to be a fly on the wall of the production meeting conversation about why the one of Diane's brothers is still part of the story.
Why?
My kids.
Villain gives a speech instead of killing the protagonist in the movie cliche. He may as well be using ill-tempered sea bass as his weapon here. Also, between these buttholes, Peoples, the crooked commander, the racist Prestige, and God knows who else, I've lost count of the total number of villains in this f***ing movie. Impossible crash from impossible angle by a car that had no clue where Shaft and the crew were located happens impossibly. Not a single person was shot just then, or I guess to stay on brand, everyone survives this.
Today, we're gonna get our money's worth.
I know we will.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the reason we were shafting in the first place. Damn, this movie is all over the place. Yes, he deserves to die, and I hope he burns in hell! Also, this is satisfying, but a lot of motherfuckers died in order for this asshole to not have a trial, by the way.
Everyone knows when you make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and umption.
I find your belief system fascinating.
Do you want to get shot? Just leave it be.
Shut the f*** up, fat man. This ain't none of your goddamn business.
You John Shaft, huh?
Heard you were dead.
Trick or treat, mother.
Do you mind if we dance with your dates?
Welcome to hell, bitch.